So this rather grimy looking thing is a MacBook Pro. Not sure of the screen size, probably 12 or 14 inches widescreen. And it is suffering from the issue that this generation tends to suffer from, which is a complete lack of doing anything whatsoever. You turn it on, you get a screen which gradually glows to white and nothing else, and that's it. Somebody's already been in this one because all the screws seem to have gone AWOL, so that'll be an interesting thing when we come to reassemble it. But according to places where I've looked online, the problem is with the motherboard itself, specifically with the fact that there are two very large chips under the heatsink that this exhaust fan is attached to. And they do the typical thing of going dry to the point where you need to get them reflowed. And that is what we're going to be attempting to do today. If I end up breaking this, I am not going to lose any sleep, because this is a bit of a sort of a hand-me-down setup. So again, I am not going to be really upset if I can't do anything with it. What I will do is start off by disconnecting that little ribbon cable there. We've got this one which will pop off here. We've got one here which I think is a tiny little one there, which is interesting. Also one here. I think these ones are just flipped on like so, so I should be able to do this, yes, with these ones. This one I think is a pull out affair, as you can see there, and there's one here which looks like the power supply for the fan, which pulls out. Now this one is another flip off. These two are the ones which are causing me not concern, but they're going to be a bit fiddly. So I think this one come out like so, just pull out like that. This one gently does it, but that just comes out like that as well. And this one, actually what I'll try is putting them back in again. So to get them back in, it looks like you have to do this and tease them in to the slot. So that will prove interesting when we come to reassembly. Actually, I wonder if it's one of those ones where plastic flips up here. No, it doesn't. Okay, so it's not one of those types of connectors where the ribbon is clamped down by the plastic. And we've got this one here, which just plugs in like that. Okay, the RAM just comes out like so. Then we have 1, 2, 3, and then probably these 4, 5 there as well. So let's start undoing these tiny little screws on the motherboard. What we'll actually do is angle the camera so that we can see what's going on. That's annoying. That is very annoying. Okay, let's try. Okay. We need an even finer screwdriver. And I don't know if I have such a thing. Oh, that'll do it. Certainly seems to be serving its purpose. Actually, 2 RAM slots in there. So you've got the top one and you've got one below it. Which kind of makes sense. So if you want to expand RAM in this, you can do it. I think one of the problems with these is you've got quite high technology which generates a lot of heat, so quite advanced stuff in here, a lot of heat generated and not enough space or cooling capabilities. So after X amount of time you get to a point where solder inside the layers of the motherboard itself start to fail and go dry, and when you end up with dry joints you ultimately end up with dodgy connections and ultimately no functionality on the machine itself. So effectively you end up with a dead machine. One thing to note is the screws on this fan are of different lengths. So you have the longest one there, medium length one here, shortest one here, and that's the shortest one I've got in my hand. That one is the longest one. The longest one's about 8 or 9 millimeters in length. So the fan itself should come out like so. There you go, there's the fan. Motherboard is held in there as well. This is a little trick you can do. Don't try and rip it out, but just flex it slightly like so, and then look around at the point where it seems to be snagging, and it's most likely that that is the point where you have a screw left over. In this case, this one here. And that will come back slightly, so that should just come back and out, unless, oh, there we go, there's something else holding it in, interestingly. I think it's a cable. Yes, it is. It's right on the other side. So let's get to that. I need to move that, bring this up, and it looks like speakers there. Then you've got another cable here, and there's your motherboard. What we need to do now is take off this quite frankly underspec heatsink. I'm not lying, that is ridiculously underspec. It's no wonder these suffer reliability issues when they get to a certain age. It's one of those situations where it's pretty much a case of, yeah, that'll do. But it's very much a situation where Apple want to have a machine that looks sleek and interesting and doesn't take up much space. And to do that, you have to compromise on cooling capabilities. So you've got an awful lot of technology crammed into this one tiny little board. And also you've got some very dry heatsink paste as well. I mean, look at that. So that's an Intel chip. This one is, I think this one is an NVIDIA chip, so that's the graphics chipset. It's probably going to be this one that has that would need reflowing ultimately. So that's the main processor. That's the graphics chip itself. So I'm going to use a bit of isopropyl alcohol to clean off the residue that is the heatsink heat transfer paste. Because it's just crumbled, it is very easy to get it off. Also, we might have some build dates in here as well. So this is copyright 06, which means I think this is a dual core, quite likely. Not sure what that is. Is that a build date? No, that's not a build date. The graphics chip is probably from a similar era. So I think in that case this is actually quite a bit older than I thought. But when you factor in that stuff like this would have been top of the range when it was new, then it is just quite impressive. The packaging is really impressive when you look at it. So off camera I'm just cleaning the heatsink up, and quite literally all of the heat paste is just flaking off. What I'm also going to do is just give this disgusting lid a clean inside as well. As soon as I've got the isopropyl out, I may as well give that a clean. Unblock the vents at the back because they are full of hair and things. What is nice though, aluminium. That's a nice little feature. They are slick looking things, I'll give them that. Right, this is where the fun bit starts. Because what I'm going to do is try and budget reflow this board. And to do that, I think I need to potentially think how to do it. First I'll get this isopropyl sealed up. Second off, move this out of the way. Using some aluminium foil. Now the video I saw was actually using a much larger board, and what they did in that particular video was they basically kept, because these two chips were sort of one above the other, they kept those exposed and sealed the rest of it. Here, I don't think we have that luxury. So we're going to have to do that. And now I'm going to go and fetch a heat gun. This will be interesting. Hopefully we won't set fire to everything, but if we do, well, that'll be also an interesting story to tell my wife when she gets back home. But we will take all of the relevant precautions. So what we will do, move this out of the way for a second. What I'm going to do is do one side for about 7 minutes and then the other side for about 7 minutes. So try and do both sides effectively. And I'll use I've forgotten what they're called. The grid tray things that you put into the oven or have on a barbecue. I've completely forgotten what they're called, but I'll be using one of those. It really does look like I'm cooking fish. Got it all wrapped up. A bit of lemon in there as well. A bit of garlic. Right, we're going to use the heat gun and we're going to heat it on the high setting, but not do it too close. You just want to get it nice and toasty in there so that the solder mostly starts to melt. And we'll do this for about 7 or 8 minutes or so, and then let it cool back down to room temperature, and then stick it back in and see if that's made any difference. Also, I don't want to be hovering in one spot for too long. The other thing I noticed as well was when I did turn it on, the heat sink at the back was getting really, really hot, which is probably part of the reason this was failing. It could be that the lack of heatsink has taken out the graphics chip and processor completely, so doing this may not have any effect whatsoever. This may be a fruitless exercise. Anyway, back shortly. So now we just need to let that cool down, back down to room temperature. Ow, it is super hot at the moment, so to speed up the process a little bit, I'm going to use a hairdryer on its lowest heat. So basically there's a button on this particular hairdryer that just allows it to blow out cool air. I'm just going to keep that pressed down and get that cooled off so that I can start reassembling the machine itself. Right, here we go. So, minimum heat, maximum speed. There we go. Right, so I've got some heat paste. So a bit of CPU paste. Whoops. Right, we've already cleaned those off with some isopropyl. There's a bit there, and a blob there. Probably way too much, but at least it's got some of the stuff onto it. Now I could spread it with a spatula. There is a little spatula that actually comes with this kit, but I'll be honest, what I tend to do, which is probably wrong, but it's always worked for me, is quite literally just plonk the heatsink straight on, like so. Actually, I need to get that the right way, so let's work this out a second. That's where the fan is. This is the heatsink. Heatsink goes, yeah, it's a weird one, it's at a funny angle. So it goes up there, 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 I think. There you go. Right, put these back in. So each of these have actually got a spring on them. So I need to do them up evenly. So I'll get this one started off first. Then there's another one, which I'll just go at the back here. That's the rear one, and final one at the front. Actually, sorry, there's another one, so there's 4 in total, but we'll put this one in here at the front. There we go. Then we've got a final one to go here. Perfect. Right, let's bring back the machine. Now this will be interesting because you've got this plug which goes in here. Not sure if you can see that, but this one goes in up here. That looks like quite an important one, so that's actually the power supply. So that's in. That one will go in a minute. This is a speaker from somewhere. Thing is, I don't know where that actually lives and how it fits into the machine itself. So that's interesting. But that one plugs into a couple of points. There is a 3-pin here and a 2-pin there. So I want, oh hang on, does it actually go over on the board itself? So that would make sense. That, oh, look at that. It goes like that on the board. So you have this one, which isn't actually the speaker, but that goes into that 3-pin up there. This little speaker goes into this 2-pin, which is really fiddly. And we'll try and get that one in first. So take that one out completely. We'll deal with that one in a minute, and we'll deal with this one first. So that's there, speaker is there. Tiny little connector. Come back a little bit. So you want to go in here, come forward and click into there. That's not quite working. I think that's worked though, that's actually in. Okay, yes, that's in. So now we've got this one, which needs to go up here. And it looks like these actually just clip in, so that will go. If I move this out of the way, that's going to be the next one we do. Quite literally, that sits there. This comes up over the speaker and slots in up the top here, but does it in such a way that it's very tight to get it in place. And the speaker keeps moving, which is annoying. And that doesn't have any leeway at all. That is literally the most you get in, unless you put it down and then snag it in like so into the speaker, so the speaker conduit, and make sure that the contact side, which is this side, is facing that connector. Oh, super fiddly. I can see why the speaker was that cable management in there for this cable in the speaker. It's actually quite a good idea, because it means I can put that up here. I can then pull that through like so, like that, and come out now. The speaker's out now, so let's try that again. Okay, so up there, that's that. Speaker, it's this one. No, it's not. That's to go up there. This is the speaker here. So speaker. That's annoying because I had it earlier. Just literally just plugged in. That's got it the wrong way. Could have it the wrong way. Let's try it the other way. So it doesn't seem to sit naturally that way, so maybe I had it the right way first off. Okay, so I've just powered it on and it's doing exactly the same thing it was before, unfortunately. So if I just try turning that off again. So power on. You get that, and then white screen of death. Unfortunately, I don't think that has actually fixed it on this occasion. There was always the risk that it wouldn't, but yeah, not to worry. It was worth trying. It's the power connector. It's actually quite cool. It's like magnetic, so it just goes, clips in like that. It's quite nice. But unfortunately, I think the damage has been done by the fact that there was really no heatsink compound on either of those processors, either on the main CPU or on that graphics chip. So I think the damage was already done, unfortunately. Not to worry, you have to try these things in order to realise that it may not necessarily work. Let's see how hot it's getting. So it's still powered up at the moment. Yeah, that's still getting very hot. In fact, the whole board is hot. It does suggest to me that, unfortunately, on this occasion, I don't think doing that sort of kind of budget reflow is actually going to do anything for the board itself. I mean, the fan's already blowing, and the machine hasn't really been on that long. You wouldn't expect the fan to be on until the machine had been on for some time. But it looks like, unfortunately, the damage has been done. Not to worry, these things happen. Anyway, ow, yeah, that is really hot. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you've got any suggestions, maybe I need to try baking it for a bit longer, so to speak. Let me know. But to be honest with you, we seem to be at a point where it probably is the machine itself that's had it, unfortunately, the motherboard itself rather, or rather one of the processors themselves. Anyway, not to worry. Take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Slight update, it's doing something different. That Apple symbol was appearing on the screen. Looks like it's just run out of battery. I may have done something to make this work, who knows. Let's plug this power supply back in. Let's hook it up again. So I basically used, as you know, I used that heat gun just now to heat the board whilst it was wrapped in baking foil. And we're back to that again. Oh, now we're back to there. Seem to need to do that to get it to work. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if it's this. Oh, hang on a minute. This board, this plate, base plate, hits a load of switches on the motherboard itself. So I guess if it's not perfectly aligned, then there's a possibility said switches won't contact. Well, would you look at that? Mouse doesn't work. Does enter work? Keyboard doesn't work. But that's a lot further than it was earlier. Look at that, I've even got a backdrop now. I think I might need to screw this base plate down properly. So I'm not sure if you can see, yeah, there you go. So that is a pretty dead cert sign that there's a problem with the graphics controller. And also all of his mucked up colours as well is also another dead cert sign. So this was owned by somebody called Matt. I'm not going to look at any of the files, I'm just going to wipe it, but yeah, this was Matt's machine, it would appear. All of this artifacting is basically evidence of a Duff graphics chip. Now, there is always the possibility that if I heat this up a bit more again, it may actually fix this. I may not have baked it for long enough. So I'm going to give that a go. When I first turned it on, it had absolutely no life at all. Then, after a short period of time, it suddenly started to boot. And now we're at this desktop, which is interesting. So this does need to be wiped. I don't want to have anybody's materials on here. Just want to completely wipe this off if I can. Which I think I remember how to do. It's been a while since I've done anything with a Mac. But you can, from within somewhere in there, you can actually sort of wipe the system back to sort of like a base image. So it can be done. I think also, is the keyboard working? Let's see if we've got, say, like a text program or something we could use. So this is OS X. Yeah, it's an Intel 2, Core 2 Duo, so that does sort of seem to fit with the 2006 timeline.